All right, guys, let's talk a minute about how to care for this card. As we've spoke about, it has a lot of different things going on with it. And I want to make sure that you guys see and know all the details so that you can have this for a while and you don't have to get another one in any way. The first thing that I like to do, I want to get close here, and I don't think that you're going to be able to see that very well on camera, but there are holes in each corner of this card. And you can just move I wouldn't scratch them by any means, but you can run your finger over and push on them so that they go down just a little bit so they're not as obvious. See how that one actually moved a little bit. That's the first thing. Don't worry, it's still going to close just fine. That's another thing that we spoke about earlier on, and I told you that I would get to, that I didn't get to, but now that I remember, we can get to. If your card is closing slowly, like so, if you push on it and it's, let's say, slower than that. Let's hold on to it like this. Not that slow. But let's say it's moving slowly. It doesn't look like it's closing enough for a vanish, fast enough for a vanish. I can assure you that it is fast enough. Every card that we put out has been sent to me and hand tested by me to make sure that they do work as we say they work. With that said, like I said, if it's closing slowly, close the card up and grab it. Don't worry, you're not going to ruin anything. All these have been sent to me, hand tested by me. I can assure you that they work just as they're supposed to. Here's the number one thing that will make, actually the only thing that's going to make this card not work. Bend that card so that it's like this, the top. Crease it really good with your fingernails. Switch sides, so open this one and close this one. Turn it around, crease this one really well. Don't worry, you're not going to hurt the string, you're not going to hurt the card. It's going to be fine. And then tell me, then try it, and then see if that card closes. Same thing with this side. Close it up, crease it, open it up, engage the card, and then see how fast it closes. Okay? And that should fix your problem. If these cards are open for too long, if they're closed for too long, it seems like this thread contracts or expands and kind of stays there. You have to really work it around a bit. So just make sure that before you use it, you just go through, close these up, crease them, and then test it out. All right, guys, so that's how to care for your gimmicks. Again, if you have any questions about it, you can contact me through social media or just email me, cn@illusionist.com, and I will help you with your gimmick. To keep this card engaged, or disengaged, I should say, you just take your thumb and put it here in the middle, and then you just bend the card like this. So it has a U kind of shape to it. And you can handle it pretty freely. I don't recommend doing this in direct light, because if you do that, I'm sure you can see right there, with the glare, you can see the creases. There it is. You can see those creases. You can kind of see the string there. But when it's away from the light, it looks so much better that you can't even see it. So that's one thing to keep, there you go, to keep in mind, is that this card should be in motion, at least a small amount of motion at all times, whether it's showing the front and the back, and then coming here and doing the move, whatever. These cards should be in motion because there's a lot to look at here. But when there's a little bit of motion added to it, no matter what it is, there's nothing at all to see here. Because we have holes in each corner, we've got slits on the back and the front, well, scores, we have the string that goes all the way around, and this should be done with the back facing them. This design here, Mario has designed this to where the thread doesn't go from top to top, it goes from side to side, which gives you the most minimal amount of thread that is viewable by your spectator. So that is a great idea, a good way to handle this. And we have done this all with rider backs rather than other designs, because it has this one continuous straight line right here along the border, and it's white. So this string blends in very well with it. With those details out of the way, let's get into exactly how to engage this, which is, you would think that your thumb would come here and your fingers would come here and you would squeeze and it would flip, and that does work. That does work. That's another tip, by the way. When you receive these gimmicks, okay, your gimmick may be slow. Like, it may seem like it's just, actually this one's pretty good, but it may seem like it just goes like this, you know, like there's really slow and it doesn't look right. And I'm going to teach you in a second how to, over the tips on how to get rid of that, because your card is not slow. So with this open, your thumb goes here in the middle, your middle finger goes in the back in the middle, so you're just touching the same point, you're just pinching this card. Now this is the way that Mario does it. This ring finger goes here, just below it. These hands are going to cover, and here's what happens. You don't squeeze, because if you squeeze with just those two fingers, it doesn't do anything, okay? What you're going to do is slightly bend in this hand to touch this outer side. Now watch what happens if I just touch that outer side and push. It closes. It closes pretty quick too. There you go. So that's what you're going to do, is these fingers are going to cover like this, and this hand here is just going to come in this motion to touch the edge of that card whenever you're ready. So I come here, I bend a little bit, I show, and then just a squeeze or a bend back. It's gone. Okay, let's do that again. There you go. You see that? Back here. So we're in focus this time. There you go. So from the front, it would do that. Finger was in the way. Okay. I think you saw from the trailer exactly how that looks with practice and practice. Now, one thing that is also in the trailer that Garen Clark here on the E-Team said is, why don't we just take that card, you know, with the back design this way, or the back design this way, cover it up as if we're going to palm it and come away. And that's the same actions, okay? The same actions as coming over, top or bottom, however you want to do it. Palming the card, maybe showing them, come back, say, watch, I'll do it again, and then engage that card by just closing your hand a bit, letting that sit here, and then coming forward from there. So that is how you engage and disengage this card. Great with that. That's pretty simple. Let's talk a minute about the cleanup. All right, now you may be wondering exactly how do I clean up from this. It is a very kind of strange gimmick. So once you engage the card, you will see that it wraps around like this. So you should be able to move it around like this without too much issue. It should stay nice and neat on the thumb. So once you're here and you do the move and it goes to this point, what I like to do is open my hands, but kind of like Tenkai, I kind of like to let that thumb hide behind the palm. So once you do it, this engages, this gets, so if I was doing it here, it's gone. I bring my thumb back and I bring my hand tilt this way so that I could go like this, and then I come back, so it's gone. I come back, I steal it away into palm, like that. So I'll do it at speed so you can see it from the back. Here, it's gone. Okay. So take a look at what I've done here. The card's gone. I bring that thumb back, I tilt towards them, They can't see the card at this point. I come back, and this goes directly into palm as I display this hand, and this hand drops to the side. You have to be ready for a ditch with this card. So just keep that in mind at all times, is that when you're doing this, do this in a routine, which we're going to go into in a minute, and always be ready to have some type of misdirection or some type of way out, because you do have to ditch this. It does pack small, but this is still a good size object to ditch. It's not like you're ditching a coin. This is, you know, quite a bit bigger. So let's go ahead and get into routine. Alright guys, so we have some blue cohorts which will contrast with our red gimmick here very well. So that'll let you just keep track of which one's which. So this effect, you know, Mario just kind of uses it as just a vanish, and that's it. And I started thinking, like, what is the best way to use a gimmick like this? Because we wanted to give a couple different ways of using it. And the best way was that I found is to use it to finish off an ambitious card routine. Now, I know there's a million of those, but this one's great. What I do is open this up, give it a bend so it sits on top of the deck nicely. That'll give you some time to turn over the deck. From here, you just finished your ambitious card routine, which for me, this works perfect because I end with, I usually go to the Brownie pop-up move, and then I go to card of mouth. And this will give me enough time to reach in my pocket, and then put this on top of the pack. Or you could do card to pocket, where the whole deck ends up going to the pocket and you're just holding that card, and you had slid in this gimmick card or the deck behind this gimmick card in the back pocket. Okay, so that's however you want to do it, or leave it in the box, put these up and say, actually let me show you one more thing, and then come out with the gimmick. That's also a really good idea. Now the back of this, the card is going to want to close up. So I just hold the top and the bottom like this with my middle finger and thumb, and that should relieve any worry that I have while holding it like this. It'd come across. So from here, this goes directly into the hand, and now at this point I don't have to worry about that card closing, because if it's closing like it's closing right now, like this, you still just hold it in your hand. And they go through, which card was your card? The Queen of Hearts. We'll just go with the Queen of Hearts. Now I turn over this queen, and this goes directly on the bottom as I turn the pack over. Okay, so I'll go over that again with you. So your card was the Queen of Hearts, and I can be very relaxed with the deck because I got all the weight of this deck on top of that card, keeping it open. So I can be very casual with it. So then you, like I said, you ask again, just what card was it we were working with? The Queen of Hearts. I take that out, turn it over, I place it on the bottom, and I flip the entire deck over. That now puts this card in second place behind this card. And see how it wants to close? You're not going to have that problem with this card on top. You're going to have more control. So from here, this is very easy. And the reason it's easy is because this card wants to close. This second card wants to close. Take a look at this. If I relax my hand a little bit, you see that break? That's going to give me a natural, that's a big break, but that's going to give me a natural break to just put my finger under. Now I know without a doubt in my mind that I have two cards. You can let it go as far as you want to, and that card is going to keep going and keep going and keep going. And I'm pinning this down with my thumb and my index finger, and but yeah, just these two fingers here. So yeah, that you just release pressure, and it's almost like a rising trick of some sort. It will just scoot up and push that second card up. But you can get you a nice break by just relaxing. You don't have to do a pinky break. You don't have to do anything like that. And this is where you're going to have to be stiff. I like to be very loose with everything that I do, the motions, to make it more elegant and make it look more like less like I'm trying, right? Not in this case. Not in this case at all. You're going to grab both of those cards by the side and flip them over. You're here, turn this card over, and go from here. Now, that's the hardest part of this whole thing. The hardest part of this whole thing, because now you're in a perfect position to disengage, I guess. Like I said, it's kind of hard to, depends on what you're going for. But you push this card over, and my fingers are just going to curl like this, and now my card is perfectly set. It's good to go. So, that's what it normally does without the card bent. If it's on top of the pack, that's what it's going to do if you just let go of it and leave it alone on top of the pack without bending it first. Okay? Once it's bent, you really don't have to worry about it. You can lay it down on the pack. You can spread the cards. You can do all that good stuff. When you grab it, just make sure that it's bent again and it sits on top of the pack, and you're good to go. You can even push this off with your finger, grab it by the top. But actually, that's where we're going to get into the next section. So we'll start there by taking their card, what they think is the Queen of Hearts. So don't flash the front, although you could. Gonna hold the back. This is going to be very hard to do because the camera's angled low. But then we go gone. Actually, take a look at that top card. Back on top of the pack it goes. I've then ditched the card onto the floor, which I'm sure you heard, or your lap, or your back pocket. You've got all the time in the world because you now have their attention on the top card here. Let's go through that one more time, just to make sure that you guys have it. So this is in the pack, in the deck. You come out, this gets turned around. What was the card we were working with? The Queen of Hearts. So let's do this at speed. Queen of Hearts. So take a look. There's your card. Now it kept coming to the top over and over and over again. And we're going to try one more thing. Turn the pack over. Making sure that we're going to do one more thing with your card. Now I want to lay that down. They can check your hands. Watch your card. If I take it, gone. Look at the top of the pack. This now goes around my back, stitched. Their card's back on top. So there you go. There is a routine with the vanishing card. So this is going to be the ending of a sandwich trick, a sandwich effect. And for this is going to give you enough time because it's going to end the spectator's hand, and we're assuming that you've loaded the gimmick to the top of the pack here. See where it folds up? And you're holding this down, and you want to have been using the same card that your gimmick is. These are two different decks of cards, so the design is going to be slightly different on the front. Definitely on the back, of course, but so say you've been using the King of Spades the entire time. You've loaded the gimmick King of Spades on top. You get a break. Now let me show you how to get this break. This is a bubble break. This isn't a push off because when the card is face up, that's not going to work. And this isn't a Stuart Gordon because picking that card up and turning it over is pretty difficult. This is a bubble break. I learned this from Tony Chang, I believe. Your index finger is on the top. Everything's a mechanic's grip. And then what you're going to do is with these two fingers, your thumb and your index finger, you're going to squeeze, and that card will raise up. And with this break, or getting into this break, this get ready, you're not going to have those issues of this card closing on you. And keep in mind, I do bend the cards in like that. It does stay, but I still need to get a break underneath it. Okay, so when I bend these, that card does stay. So I get that bubble break, like this. They never see this, okay? So this is done, the break is done like this, a squeeze. Now it's set, and then I've got the break. Okay, from here, I'll do it again. So let's start from here. This has been loaded on top, squeeze, bubble break. And now I have my break. And then I take this card and I just place it on top so that they never see that gimmicked card. Now watch what's going to happen. Now, keep in mind that I still have that break. I'm going to squeeze these cards, again, the whole pack, so that everything stays, and just turn the pack over. If you feel like that card, like in the last one, if you feel like that card is going to bend, just grab everything, be a little tense with it, then bring it out to here and set it down. Now that is what I'm going to do, is set it down. And you see how that stays open? Now there's a lot of things going on with this card. Obviously you need to cover that. So we're just going to place a box over here to keep it safe while I'll show you these two cards. These are the two queens, the Queen of Hearts and the Queen of Diamonds. Now we're just going to leave those here. Now what I've done is I have loaded those two cards. There's nothing that I hate more than seeing this. Right, to load a card. Same thing with well, I don't want to name names. There's quite a few people that don't like this as well. Not that your spectator knows, but what is the point of grabbing two cards after you've shown them and then splitting them again and then placing the bottom one on top? I think I learned this from Justin Miller. I do it differently than he does. So I'm not going to teach his way. I'll just teach the way that that I'm doing it. So this is a double. So this is their card and the bottom queen with a break. So I have a break here. And then the queen on top, I grab everything. I'm going to peel that bottom queen off and see how it exposes the selection. I'm going to peel that bottom queen off, and then I'm going to square with my ring finger the queen and their selection together. So I'll show you this from the bottom. Here. Just like that. Here's what it looks like from top. So I have the Queen of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts. See how much better that looks? The two queens, the Queen of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts. Oops, that was two. Let's put the hearts back on top. Two queens, the Queen of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts. And I'm going to leave those right here. Now, this is where you come back to the gimmicked card, your selection, and you can even show the front, King of Spades. Watch what happens. 1, 2, 3, gone. There it is. Check between the two queens. And that is where the spectator can look between the two queens, and there jumps their King of Spades. Let's go over this one more time, just so that you guys for sure have it down. And we're not going to bore you with the slow instructions or anything. We've already went through that once. I like for the queens to be face down. Just so you have a reason to introduce them. And this is the card that was in play already. We've palmed the gimmick card. It goes on top as we turn the deck around. And you can see that all these cards are different. Yes, 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 and so on. Turn the deck back over. I get my bubble break here. Now I want to show you one more trick using your card. In fact, we're going to leave it just right here. And I'll put the case on top of it so that nothing happens with it, so I can't maneuver it or move it in any way. And I have the two queens here, the Queen of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts. We'll leave those right here on the pack. Now, watch what happens with your card. Oops. Didn't engage it enough here. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Gone. Take a look between the queens, and now you have enough time to ditch this card. and there's their card right between the queens. I want to thank you all for purchasing this effect. I'm sure Mario appreciates it as well. If you have any questions, you can contact me and I can walk you through either the gimmick itself and how that works a little more detailed, or if you have any questions about any handlings or aspects of this project, you can contact me. I'm sure Mario, and if I don't know, I can contact Mario and we will get it resolved for you. So again, thank you again for purchasing this product, and we'll catch you next time.